when I was living with my parents. If not working out, I would spend time playing video games because I was trying to escape the world and worries, and I hated people. And my mom did not like this for obvious reasons, me playing video games. She would say, go outside and play. And I would always say, I don't want to, or there's nothing to do outside. To which she would typically respond, I'll give you something to do. Go outside and pull weed. Whatever you think is a large house, and think of the mulch beds that surround it, double that. This was a very large task. I'd go outside with one of those Walmart bag, I'd get on my hands and knees, and I'd pull those weeds out one by one. And when I'm doing that, I'm having these ideas that, this is so stupid, this is so dumb, I can't believe I'm doing this, this is ridiculous, my knees hurt. But in all of that, I got a glimpse of an analogy, and that was weeding is like trying to get rid of negative thoughts in your mind. And so in this analogy, your mind is a garden. I think most people will intuitively agree with the idea that it doesn't matter what plants or flowers or trees or bushes or type of mulch that you put down, that weeds will grow. And ironically, they seem to grow faster than the plants themselves. And so if they're not pulled out sooner than later, their roots become even more involved in everything. They become even harder to remove. And they grow so fast that they obstruct the architecture of your flower bed, of what you plan to have there, what was initially there. If they grow even more, this obstruction then prevents them from having sunlight, and their roots start to, take over, and they can actually end up killing the desirables, the things that you want. Weeding is like negative thoughts. You have to attack your negative thoughts head on, and the sooner, the better. A saying that we hear also often is, stop and smell the roses. I think people with anxiety and depression try to do this. They really do. Like, people in their life, I'm sure, have probably told them, like, how are you this miserable, right? Like, there has to be something good in your life. Why can't you just hold on to that? I think the issue here is the analogy of those weeds that we talked about, right? Like, there's so many weeds, there's so many negative thoughts that even if the flowers are still there by chance, if they haven't been killed off, they're being obstructed, and so they're very hard to find. And so my idea at the moment is that the only way to truly tackle this is to do it in a not so sexy way. That's to get down on your hands and knees and to pull those weeds one by one until you find a rose, and then you remember why you're weeding in the first place. It's not because your mom made you do it. It's so that you can see what is supposed to be there, or what is actually there, like the potential. You need to attack the bad, not all of it, but enough of it so that you can see the good and enjoy it. Because you have to recognize that the flowers blossom every season, but then what do? They wilt and they die. And then they blossom, and then they wilt and they die. And so you can't become over-attached with that good idea or who you think you are or who somebody else is. You have to let it go, because if not, that would be a disservice to them, right? Like, you're not going to be happy if you're the same person a year from now. And similarly, you can't expect the same of somebody else. Like, that, you can't expect them to be happy a year from now if they're the exact same person. It doesn't matter whether they're happy right now or not, because people like to progress, they like to move forward, or at least feel like they are. Another problem that I want to tackle is the people who are doers, right? Like, they'll be weeding so much in this analogy, and they're so focused that they might accidentally pull out a flower. Or they're weeding so much that they kind of just push the flower to the side and they continue to weed because they want to get it all done, not realizing that it's a process. You'll probably never be done. And if you are done, little do you know there's these little weeds that are coming that you can't even see yet that are going to sprout the next day. And so you have to remember in the first place why you're weeding. It's to let the flowers live and blossom. Your mind is a garden, and there's negative ideas, and in this analogy, the negative ideas are weeds. They seem to grow faster than the things that you want, and if not tackled head on, they continue to grow and they'll kill the entire garden. And so I'll leave you with that, something to think about. Peace, Elise.